What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown for UFC Vegas 53. We have Marlon Vera going against Rob Font.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back breaking down another card this week, UFC Vegas 53. I had the most action I've had all year last week, and this is a week where I'm going to have very light action on a card like this. I think this is a very sketchy card, a lot of very sketchy matchups. I do have it 9 bets, a couple sprinkles in there, but don't want to be overly exposed for this card because next week we do have UFC 260 or 274, which is going to be Oliveira going against Gage. You cannot wait for that. We have Rose Namajunas, Carlos Esparza. Phenomenal card next week, so don't want to go all in on a card like this because this card is very sketchy with a ton of sketchy fights. But with that said, I do think it's going to be a very fun card. I like it, but from betting, not so much, to be honest. But before we get started and get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you do want extra content, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I'm going to start getting into, well, I already have started getting into UFC 274. I'm going to be getting out some early content for that. I'm going to be out of town for the week next week, so trying to get everything crunched in for this card, Vegas 53 and 274, all in 1 week. So I'm in the process of doing that. So that's why this video is coming out on a Thursday. But I say we get right into it, starting with the first fight of the night. And this order is wrong, but we're just going to go through these fights here. We have Romanov going against Sherman. Romanov minus 2,500, Sherman plus 1,200. There's just no way you can possibly bet this fight. Nothing sticks out, but we know what's going to happen. Romanov's going to come in here. He's going to take down Chase Sherman. He's going to either submit him or knock him out. Which one? I don't know. You have the knockout, which is at plus 130. The submission, which is at minus 120. There's just no point in playing those. Even like the under 1.5, it opened like minus 175 last week. I was going to try to get on that. It moved instantly, and it's currently like minus 290. So you can't even play the under. Like this fight's just unplayable. But Romanov should come in here, take down Sherman, smash him. Jake Collier was able to submit Chase Sherman. If Jake Collier is able to do that, I don't even want to imagine what Romanov does. But yeah, Romanov smashes. Round 1, Romanov. But even round 1 for Romanov is minus 190. Like, you just can't play that. So Romanov for me, but from a betting perspective, there's just nothing you can bet. Taira going against Carlos Candelario. Taira making his debut here. This is a guy that is making his debut in the United States as well, which is something to note. And it looks like Taira did open up minus 260. He's currently minus 225, and Connelly opened up plus 220. He's currently plus 190. Candelario, a very popular dog. And I can kind of get behind it a little bit because Taira probably should not be this big of a favorite. But from what I will say, Taira does look like a very solid fighter. And what impressed me the most is going to be that grappling. This guy is very, very slick on the mat. I don't think his wrestling's amazing. I don't think his striking is amazing. But it was the grappling that really, really impressed me. Candelario thus far, in both Contender Series fights, he has about a 50% takedown defense, has really struggled with, stopping guys from taking him down. And if Taira is able to get down Candelario, I think Taira can have some success. But again, this guy Taira is 22 years old. He's making his debut not only in the UFC, but in the United States, going against Candelario, who's probably fought the better competition, who's been on the Contender Series twice. It's just a very, very sketchy fight. Like most fights on this card, it's sketchy, but I am going to go Taira. I like Taira to win, and I was kind of thinking like a late finish. Candelario does slow down as the fight goes on, and Taira's grappling is very, very good. I was thinking maybe a late sub, but they have the submission prop at only plus 210. Just another fight that's just not bettable for me. I'm going to pick Taira to win. I think it's either decision, maybe a late sub, but I like Taira to win here. And yeah, I think you should get it done there. But yeah, another sketchy fight. Gabe Green going against Johan Lainesse. We have Gabe Green, who is minus 135. Lainesse, who is plus 115. So, yeah, Gabe Green, a very popular play this week, and that is probably because this guy should be the clear minute winner here. Lainesse, this guy has one thing and one thing only, and that is pure power. This guy just throws technique out the window. He is trying to take your head off and has been working thus far. On top of that, I have seen him go out there and take guys down on the regional scene and, has been successful with it, but I do not think it's going to happen here against Gabe Green, who's going to be the much better grappler. I just think Gabe Green's better everywhere. I think Gabe Green's going to have the better striking, the better cardio, the much better cardio, the better grappling. He's fought the better competition, and I do like Gabe Green here quite a bit. It's just there's one massive flaw of Gabe Green, which I do not like, and it is going to be the striking defense of Gabe Green. This guy is extremely hittable. He has no striking defense. He has none. He ate like 170 significant strikes from D-Rod. Even Phil Rowe, when he threw, he was landing on him as well. So he relies a lot on his chin, and that could be a serious problem here. So I like Gabe Green to win because I think if he gets out of the first round, it's going to be his fight all day. But, early on, Lainesse is definitely going to have some opportunities. So another fighter I just can't bet here, especially laying minus 135 at Green at this point. At Pick'ems, I liked it. I was maybe thinking about betting Green and then hedging with the Lainesse first round knockout prop, but DraftKings Sportsbook has Lainesse first round KO at only plus 350, which is, not good. So this is another pass fade for me. I even thought the fight doesn't go to decision would be a good look, but there's only one book that has it available. Well, there's two books. 5 Dimes has minus 205. I do not have access to that book, and then DraftKings has like minus 260, and I'm not laying that chalk there. So the pick's Gabe Green. The pick is Gabe Green by late finish, but another fight I'm just not betting. So we will keep moving on to the next fight. We have Natan Levy going against Mike Breeden, and I'm really impressed with Levy. I think the striking's pretty solid, but what impressed me the most about Levy is going to be his ground game. Like on the Contender Series, his opponent, who was his name? I think Solomon was going out there trying to get him down, and it was actually Levy that took him down and was able to control him for the entire fight up until he got the submission in the third round. And he's very slick off his back, very slick on the mat, and the wrestling's good. And on top of that, his cardio is very good as well. Mike Breeden, I'm not sure if he's UFC caliber, but he did make his debut against Hernandez in his last fight, got starched in a round. I do think he's going to put up a much better performance than that, but I just like Levy here pretty much everywhere. I think the striking is going to be competitive. I do like how Breeden comes forward. He's going to throw hard, but, I think Levy can get this fight down to the mat. I think he can control Breeden. I think Levy's going to have the better cardio, and ultimately I think Levy wins by decision here. Levy by decision plus 175, not good enough for me. Levy by submission plus 260. Most definitely not good enough. The pick's Levy. If that line keeps coming down, I might take a look at Levy. But minus 180, it seems solid. Don't hate some Levy here. I think he is the better fighter everywhere. Next fight, we have Daniel Da Silva going against Francisco Figueiredo. I finally have my first bet of the night, and I have 2 bets on this fight. And this is a sketchy fight. It's a very sketchy fight. We have Da Silva, who has like 13 fights. Only like 4 or 5 are available out there to watch, and when you're watching Da Silva fights, you don't get to watch a ton because he's a kill or be killed fighter. This is a guy that he gets in, he gets out, whether he's winning or he's losing. In his entire career, he's never seen the third round. He's been over 1.5 rounds once. This guy's going to go after it, and if you watch any of his fights, you can see why. This guy goes out there, kind of balls to the wall early, a bunch of kicks, spinning attacks, and if it hits the mat, he's throwing up submissions like nonstop. So I like that out of him. You have Francisco Figueiredo on the flip side, which is the complete opposite. This is a guy that goes in there and does nothing. I don't know what it is. Like, is he trying to manage his cardio? He's landing under 2 significant strikes per minute thus far in 2 fights that did go the full distance against Malcolm Gordon and Jerome Rivera. And with the low output, the low activity, he's still slowing down. I mean, he lost the third round on all 3 judges' scorecards to Jerome Rivera. He lost the third round to Malcolm Gordon. He lost to Malcolm Gordon as well. Just not the best look to me. I think Da Silva is going to have a really good opportunity to go out here, finish Francisco Figueiredo early on. He has been finished by knockout once, by submission once. And again, Daniel Da Silva is going to be dangerous anywhere the fight goes. On the feet, I think Da Silva has the clear advantage just because he throws stuff where Figgy does not. And then on the mat, Silva's going to be up, throwing up submissions nonstop. Maybe he catches Figgy in something, but as the fight goes on, that's where it's going to start to get interesting because I think Figgy has very bad cardio. And I think Da Silva probably has bad cardio as well, but I don't know. We have not seen Figgy, or we have not seen Da Silva extended, but we have seen Figgy extended. For what I've seen from Figgy, extended has not been good, and maybe it's not good from Da Silva, but if this fight gets extended, it could get very sloppy, very fast, but I do have a unit on Da Silva minus 115. Again, very sketchy fight, very, very sketchy fight, but I do like Da Silva. I like his output. I like how dangerous he is, whether it's on the feet or the mat. And Figgy just doesn't do anything at all. So I like Da Silva here. 1 unit minus 115, and then I also played the under 2.5 rounds 1 unit, plus 110. I like that at plus money for a guy in Silva who is a killer be killed fighter, has never seen the third round, has been over 1.5 rounds once, obviously never been under or never been over 2.5 rounds. I think Silva is going to either go out there and get an early finish, or if this fight does get extended, I think it gets interesting there. But yeah, I think Silva, early win for me. 2 bets on this fight. Sketchy fight, but it is what it is. We'll see if we can cash those. Next, we got Gina Mazzany, Shanna Young, and yep, I did it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I posted that I did bet Gina Mazzany, and I puked a little, but it had to be done. Like, I have Gina Mazzany, 1.6 units, minus 160. I like this matchup for her. I really do. Gina Mazzany, on paper, she should absolutely win this fight. She averages nearly 5 takedowns per 15 minutes, a 58% takedown accuracy, which is phenomenal, especially considering it's a 7-fight sample size. She's able to get fights down to the mat, and she is able to be very accurate with her takedowns. I love that. Shanna Young, what does she struggle with? A lot of things, but, mostly the takedown defense, the ground game, she has nothing. Sarah Alpar took her down twice, submitted her. Egger took her down a couple times, knocked her out on the mat. Maisie Chiazon took her down a few times, controlled her for nearly 10 minutes. Like, Gina Mazzany should take her down, should knock her out on the mat, submit her, or cruise out to a decision. The only thing with Mazzany is she did gas out really bad in her last fight against Priscilla Ketchup-Beating. So I'm hoping she comes in here a little bit more prepared. And even like she could go out here, manage, how many takedowns she's going for. Like in the Priscilla Cachoeira fight, she had to go for takedowns. You do not want to stand with Priscilla Cachoeira, especially if you're Mazzany. But against Shanna Young, like, the striking's going to be very close and competitive. So, I mean, just pick and choose when you're going for those takedowns, manage your energy. It should be an easy win for Mazzany. But nothing in women's MMA is easy. This is a very, very low-level fight. I can't believe I bet this, but I did. 1.6 units, minus 160 Gina Mazzany. I think she should look like a huge favorite here, but again, it's Gina Mazzany, it's women's MMA. We've been there, we've done that, and it's cost me more often than not when I'm overconfident in a women's fight. This low level, I typically do not do well, but let's see what happens. I think Mazzany should go out here and win, so hopefully she gets the job done. Andre Fili, Joe Anderson, Brito. Fili minus 220, Brito is plus 185. Brito seems to be a pretty popular dog this week. Money coming in on Brito as the week goes on, and yeah, I think the line should be somewhat closer. I think minus 220, minus 200 is about right to me. Fili has fought the much better competition. I think level of competition is probably the biggest thing here for me. He's fought a ton of great guys. He's beaten a ton of great guys. Brito took a big step up in competition his last time against Bill Algeo. Did not pass that test, and then on top of that, he's taken a step up from Bill Algeo now to Andre Fili, who did look probably the best he's ever looked in his last fight against Pineda, a fight that got turned into a no contest from an eye poke, but up until then, Fili was looking phenomenal on the feet. But yeah, Fili's really well-rounded. He's going to have the cardio advantage. He's going to have the striking advantage. The wrestling probably goes to Brito, but could Brito wrestle for 3 rounds? I lean towards no. Brito, I don't think he has the best cardio. He does slow down as the fight goes on, and Fili's not going to slow down as the fight goes on. So I do like Fili to win here. I think it will be close and competitive, but I like Fili to edge out a decision. But yeah, maybe a live bet for Fili after the first round. I can see Brito winning that first. Grant Dawson going against Jared Gordon. I do have a bet here on Grant Dawson, and I got him just in time on Sunday. Minus 140, 1.4 units. He's now sitting around the minus 180 range. Minus 185 around there, and I get why. I think it's a really good matchup for Grant Dawson to bounce back from his draw against Rick Glenn in his last fight, where he did gas out bad in that third round, which was weird because you go back and watch, other Dawson fights where he has been in the third round against like Santos, other fights where he's going out there, he's winning decisions, he's winning third rounds, he's getting finished in the third rounds. He just doesn't really seem like he gassed out before that bad. So that was maybe a one-off there, but I'm hoping the camp move to American Top Team, I'm hoping it was potentially a wake-up call for him, and he was talking about it being a wake-up call. He's talking about needing something to change, and yeah, that was a bad look against Rick Glenn. It really was, but this is a matchup where Dawson, he's going to go for takedowns. He's going to go for a lot of them. Jared Gordon stuffed takedowns at 50%. So when guys are trying to take him down, they're successful half the time, and that just seems like a recipe for disaster against a guy like Grant Dawson, who, if he does not get the first takedown, he's going to go for a second, a third, a fourth, until he gets you down, and once he gets you down, you're not getting up. So, I like Dawson here. I think it's a really solid matchup for him. I like Dawson to win by decision. Plus 140 by decision, not awful, but I would just take the money line because Gordon has been finished in all 4 of his losses, and Dawson is a very, very dangerous finisher, finishing, I think, all but 1 or 2 of his wins there. So, yeah, I do like Dawson to win. I have a 1.4 unit bet on him at minus 140 there. All right, Krzysztof Joko going against Meerschaert. I have a bet here. I have the Meerschaert scorecards equals no action. Same thing as the finish only. DraftKings, BetOnline, and FanDuel have it. And I did get it on FanDuel at plus 114, 1 unit on that. DraftKings actually at plus 120. I'm not sure if it's still there, but I mean, you can see it right there, the finish rates between the two. Joko, a 31% finish rate, which is the worst on the card. Going against Gerald Meerschaert, who has a 94% finish rate, which is the second best on the card, right behind our guy Daniel De Silva. So, yeah, I think if there is a finish, it's most likely going to be Meerschaert. Joko, only 1 finish in the UFC. Joko has been finished in 3 of his 5 losses. Meerschaert, 11 finished losses out of his 14 losses. Joko just not finishing anybody. Maybe he finishes Meerschaert. It could happen. Anything can happen. This is MMA, but I think if there is a finish, it's more likely it's going to be Meerschaert. So the plus money on that just really made no sense. So give me Meerschaert, finish only, scorecards equals no action, 1 unit, plus 114. As far as picking a winner, I think Joko wins. I think he wins by decision, but I just thought that scorecards equals no action line looked very off. Moving on, probably one of the sketchiest cards or fights on the card here. We have Darren Elkins, Tristan Connelly, and money's pouring in on Elkins. I understand it to an extent. Like, I would not be betting on this fight. There is no way I'm touching this fight. I'm going to pick Elkins to win. I'm going to pick him to win by decision, but, he's taken so much damage throughout his career. He's still able to go out there and beat these lower level guys, and I do think, Connelly is falling under that category, but, there's going to be a point where this guy just completely falls off a cliff, and, maybe it could be this fight. I'm not touching this fight whatsoever. You have Elkins 37 with, a ton of damage, and then you have Connelly, who is 36, who I don't really think is UFC caliber. What a mess. Like, if anything, it's dog or pass. I'm not laying chalk on Elkins, but you could not pay me to bet this fight. So I already have bets on sketchy fights. I don't need to add this one onto my card. Give me Elkins by decision, 0 confidence. Andre Arlovski, Jake Collier, another fight that is very sketchy, very greasy. It's going to go to decision. It's going to be very close. You have Andre Arlovski, who is, fought the better competition, the more experienced fighter, probably has a slight power advantage, probably a slight cardio advantage. And you have Jake Collier, who's much younger, 10 years younger, and he's going to have a massive volume advantage. This is one of those fights where it's going to go to decision. It's going to be close. It's going to be greasy. These guys are going to be tired, especially Collier. Collier is going to slow down massively as the fight goes on, but Collier's volume is very, very good. This guy, in his 2 fights, they did go the distance at heavyweight. He's landed well over 100 significant strikes. Andre Arlovski's landed 100 significant strikes in only 2 fights in his entire career. We know how long Arlovski's been fighting. So I think it goes like this. Collier outstrikes Arlovski in every single round in terms of the numbers. Arlovski has the bigger moments, probably lands a lot less. Are the judges going to favor the volume of Jake Collier, or are they going to favor the bigger moments of Arlovski? I don't know. I really don't. 0 confidence, but if anything, I'm betting Collier at plus 120. This fight's going to be very close. I think the fight ends in split decision on DraftKings at plus 450. It's also interesting, but again, another fight where you probably could not pay me to put any money on this one. So, Collier's the pick. I don't know how people are confident in this fight, but lots of confidence coming from either side, and it just makes 0 sense to me. But maybe they're seeing something I'm not. But I think it's gonna be a sloppy, greasy co-main event here that can go either way. And then the main event, we have Rob Font going against Marlon Vera. Should be a very fun one here. Excited for Marlon Vera to finally get a 5-round fight. This is a guy that, if you know how Marlon Vera fights, he loses the first round. That's a given. The second round, he starts to wake up, and the third round is where he absolutely turns it on. So I'm curious to see, what's he going to look like the 4th round, the 5th round. He's going to kick into an extra gear. We're going to have to find out. But, I get why Font's the favorite. He's a very popular pick this week, and I get why. He's going to be the minute winner here. His volume's phenomenal. His striking's phenomenal. He's going to have a striking advantage. He's going to be outlanding Marlon Vera in terms of the volume, but I do think Marlon Vera is very live in this fight for a couple reasons. So I think Marlon Vera is going to have the advantage on the mat. Rob Font stuffs takedowns at 55%. I think it'd be wise for Marlon Vera to, go for takedowns here or there. But, most importantly, I think Marlon Vera is the more dangerous fighter in this fight. I think he's going to have the much more dangerous moments, the much bigger moments in this fight as well. I think he can really hurt Font as the fight goes on. Mix in some leg kicks, some elbows. I think Marlon Vera is going to have 5 rounds to land something big on Rob Font there. And then on top of that, I think the more durable is 100% Marlon Vera. This guy is as durable as it gets. Never been finished, 7 decision losses. This guy's never even been knocked down, and he's eaten over like 108, over 800 significant strikes. It's crazy. So I think the better chin goes to Marlon Vera all day. I think durability is going to be key here in a fight that I think is going to turn into a war, like most Marlon Vera fights do. So if Font wins, it's going to be, him sticking on the outside for 25 minutes, picking apart Marlon Vera. It probably looks really easy. But if Vera wins, he's going to get on the inside, land hard shots, mix in some takedowns, and hurt Font and hurt him very bad. I do like the Font side here. I do have 4 bets on this fight and a couple sprinkles there mixed in. We have the scorecards equals no action and the finish only, which is the same thing I did with Meerschaert here. I think if there's a finish, it's going to be Marlon Vera getting that finish there. And that was minus 115. I have 1.25 units on it. I don't see anybody finishing Marlon Vera. Maybe Font gets him out of there late. I don't really see it, though. I think Marlon Vera, if he wins this fight, it's going to be inside the distance. And then I also sprinkled the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round props for Marlon Vera. I think he's going to turn it on in that 2nd, 3rd round, and I think he has an opportunity to finish Rob Font later the fight goes. So quarter unit on each. Round 3 plus 2,000, round 4 plus 2,200, round 5 plus 2,800. Wish I would have got in a little bit earlier on those because like round 5 opened up like plus 3,600, something like that. But I think the 3rd round is live for Marlon Vera for a finish. 4th round, 5th round. If he does not finish Font, probably does cruise to a decision there. Font, if you like Font by decision is probably the way to go at plus 170. But I'm going to quickly recap the action here. Again, I'm staying very light. This card is so sketchy. I don't want a ton to do with it. I'm already like, I don't know. This card terrifies me. Like there's so many sketchy fights on this card, but it's good. It's a good card. It's gonna be fun. But my goodness, Grant Dawson 1.4 units minus 140. Daniel da Silva 1 unit minus 115. Also 1 unit on the under 2.5 for Figuerado. Da Silva that's plus 110. Gina Mazzany 1.6 units minus 160. I have Gerald Meerschaert. Scorecards equals no action, finish only, plus 114, 1 unit. Rob Font, scorecards, or Marlon Vera, scorecards equals no action, finish only, minus 115, 1.25 units. And by the way, the scorecards equals no action, finish only, means that the fight goes the distance, the bet is voided. And you guys should know that by now. But I just want to remind you guys, if you are new, the scorecards equals no action means that if the fight goes to decision, the bet is voided. And if Vera wins inside the distance, the bet wins. If Font wins inside the distance, the bet loses. And then sprinkles on Marlon Vera, 3, 4, 5, quarter unit on each. Round 3, 20 to 1. Round 4, 22 to 1. And then round 5, 28 to 1. Best of luck, guys. Bankroll management is key. It is absolutely key. Do not lose all your money on this card. My goodness. Next week, that's a card you can go a little bit heavier on. We have a lot of high-level matchups, UFC 274. I've already looked into the main event, the co-main event. I already have a bet for next week as well. And I say this a lot, but I might have my next max bet, my first max bet of the year, as long as the bookies don't try to screw me. Like every time I say I'm going to have a max bet, they put the line at like minus 600, 700. But I'm hoping it's a playable line because there's a spot that really sticks out next week. And I'm sure a couple of you guys that know me can guess what that is. But yeah, best of luck, guys. This card is sketchy, but should be fun. Good luck. Let's make some money. Talk to you soon.